All right, Dano, back in the room here. Close the doors. This is a familiar face, especially for you for years. How many years? Marty Brodeur, Hall of Famer, 3 Stanley Cups. I mean, we can go on and on with 3 with this guy. I mean, how many years did you guys play together?
13 about Marty? 9?
Yeah, I started in 93, 94, so you retired after the Cup in 03.
And that was plenty for you, right? You had enough of me.
What was your first impression of old Dano back in the day? We always joke around about it here, and now just great, just hearing him come in here on this show. He's got his voice talking like this, and were you like, wow, this is the National Hockey League or what?
Yeah, that's the first time I'm playing with real men. It was great. Obviously, we were fortunate to be able to stay together alongside, Scott Stevens and Niedermeyer. So it was kind of pretty comforting to have a guy like Dano just protecting me at all times. Yeah,
you talk about you realize you're playing with grown men. I mean, this was something that I actually just watched it more in depth today than I probably ever have. It was the Rangers Devils brawl back in '92. So you were 19 years old. And you were a part of that as well. Like, you guys said, Dano, like what happened there? Like, how did this? I mean, that was like everybody was on the ice.
Well, you don't see this kind of thing anymore in today's game. It was the end of a playoff game, Game 6, setting the tone for Game 7. It got ugly, right, Marty?
Yeah, it did. Especially for me, being such a young guy, I was sitting on the bench, minding my own business, and I think. I don't remember who played for, so it must have been Richter. He left right away, and so he wasn't on the ice. So it was just me, myself, Chris Hurry, and Beezer, and these guys were talking about golf. And I always remember T-Bone goes to me, he goes, Marty, get in there. 2 guys, there's 2 guys on one of ours. So I go in, I go to pull that one guy. It was Joey Kosher. So I kind of just said, whoops, kind of a rookie mistake. I just let him go. But no, it was kind of a little different, that's for sure.
Oh, that's incredible.
Did he say anything to you, Marty? I mean, he was as tough as they come.
The look was enough.
He just looked at you a certain way, and you're like, hey, your goalie's not out here, so I'm just kind of hanging out right now. Oh, I love that stuff. One thing I wanted to, we got some fun stuff to get with you on, and then Dano, you take it after this. I had one question for you, just out of curiosity. I was talking to some guys. I was actually talking to Mark Denis a little bit last year and talking to some guys. And I'm really curious because I even know in my career, but let's just say even the all-time greats. You, Patty Waugh, I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury, where he's at on that list as far as all-time wins. You're talking about Quebec-born goaltenders. And there were so many. I think about when I played in the National Hockey League, how many guys, even not the greats, just the just regular goaltenders in the league. And now it's like there's not many. And I don't understand it. Is there any reason to that? Is like Sam Montembeault is one that comes to mind, just named to 4 nations for Team Canada. Is it what do you kind of put to that? Like, why is it this is the only 3 that in the National Hockey League that have played this year as far as Quebec-born goaltenders?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling a little bit because, from the days that I played, with José Theodore, Patrick Lalime, Luongo, I mean, name it, there's so many of them. And now it's really, really thin in Quebec. For whatever reason that is, I wish somebody could figure it out. But the trend is European goalies. And obviously, the Russians are not going to be part of the four nation. But they probably have the best goalies out there in the National Hockey League with Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, Sorokin, and I'm missing a few probably. But as far as French Canadian goalies, yeah, it's they're not many coming. Even through the draft, I always ask my scout about the goalies in Quebec, and there's not many coming up either.
You're like, I'll draft one. Just give me something. I'll draft them.
Well, I think, Marty, I mean, all these young goalies today in Quebec are going, how are we going to top what the era of Marty Brodeur, Patrick Roy, and Roberto Luongo, how are we going to top that? So we're going to play a different position maybe, but all kidding aside.
Well, my incentive, when I saw Patrick Roy being so successful, when I saw Stéphane Fissette, Félix Potvin being successful, that gave me hope to say, hey, French-Canadian guys, like we could take on that big National Hockey League, So these kids just think the same way.
You know, Marty, I've never got to ask you, and we see each other quite a bit at the rink over the years. And your son, Jeremy Brodeur, plays a preseason game against the Rangers at the Prudential Center. And what did that mean to you? Because it was a special moment, and he had a whale of a game.
It meant the world, you know, having your son playing in the same net that you played. It was really cool. Unfortunately, I wasn't at the game because I was in Europe with the team in Prague. But I made sure I stayed up late enough to be able to catch 3/4 of the game before I passed out. But it was great for our family, for our friends. You know, I got up with about 60 texts about his performance. So I was really happy for him that he got a little taste of it, even though they weren't all NHL players. He got to play against Jonathan Quick. Obviously, I played at some battles in the Stanley Cup Finals in 2012. So that was a great moment for him and our family.
Well, we called it, and it was special. I know you were over in Europe at the time, but it was pretty neat and just kind of the aura of a Brodeur back in the net at Prudential Center. And you mentioned Jonathan Quick, who you battled in 2012, certainly, and some other games as well, but in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there was not many NHL caliber players. You know, I think the Rangers didn't bring much guys there, but it's still, you know, a high-end American Hockey League team that he played. But it's in the setting of the NHL. That's what it's all about. And he thrived under the pressure. So I was happy to see that he played well.
Hey, Marty, we'd have to have you on here for days to talk about all the accolades. But one of the coolest things I think I've seen, too, is we got to see it firsthand, the way you handled the puck. But scoring that goal in the playoffs against the Canadiens, like, yeah, what was that? What went through your mind? And now that you're done playing, did you look back at those moments? Was that something you set out to do? Was that a goal? I want to score a goal in the National Hockey League?
Didn't matter in what league, I wanted to score a goal. I tried really hard in junior and could never do it. And this one was just everything aligned there, and was able to shoot it through everybody. Give a big thank you to Dave Metz and to really dumping the puck right to me like that.
You celebrated that like it was your 500th win, so I guess it is a real special moment for a goaltender, isn't it?
Yes, it is. There's not many goalies in the league history that were able to score goals. So it was exciting. Obviously, playing against Montreal and at home made it more fun, I guess.
You know what? I got something real funny to add on that too. It's I found it hilarious because there was a couple years there, and again with Marty handling the puck. I was used the one season in particular on the power play just as a screen, right? Basically go to the corner, get the puck to the skilled guys and get back in front of the net on the power play. And then so I was a stretch guy at the far blue line. And my job was literally just keep the defense back, keep them honest, and just cut across the blue line when we're breaking out on the power play. And Marty would get this puck and he'd fire it. And it would come out here. I mean, it's coming out, and I'm coming here, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to try to pick this out of the air, like right on the blue line. And I miss it, and it actually landed. I didn't need to lift my stick up. It was coming right to me. And I remember it ended up, I'm pretty sure it went down for icing then. We went back for the face-off, and I was just like, man, he put it right on the money. And I remember I used to sit there and think to myself, like this is a tough spot because Marty's so good at landing it there, and I didn't want to mess it up here on this play. But yeah, I remember the one time you were just like, I'll get it there. Just put your stick down, and you sure as hell did. And that was something that where did that come from? You just worked on it all the time, or was it something that came natural?
Yeah, you know, I worked really hard at it. You know, at first, my dad was a sports photographer. He worked for the Montreal Canadiens, and he went to a game while the Flyers were in town, and he saw Ron Extall. And the next day, he came up to me and he told me, because he was like a third defenseman out there. You need to start working on your shot, on your passing skills, on everything. And from that day, you know, it didn't get on deaf ears. Like I just practice and. You know, Daneyko, even Europe, or like even in practice, I do it all the time. I used to shoot puck everywhere. Even when the coach was talking, I was still trying to do that, try to get better at it. It was a fun thing for me to include in my game. I thought it was a huge asset. And you know, the coaches were good with me. You know, sometimes you have coaches that, hey, just leave the puck there, don't do anything, but they have enough confidence in me to start breakouts or even making dumb pins on the other side.
Marty, that's interesting that your father recognized that at a young age, because everybody's saying, for the most part, goalies just stop the puck. But it became, I mean, they made a rule about you, for crying out loud, because you handled the puck too well. So they had a trapezoid they had to add. But I have to personally thank you, and I say this sincerely. I don't know if I've ever said it. You probably prolonged my career about 5 years, because all I did is peel off. I prided myself on going back for that puck, taking a big hit, protecting it. That was kind of in my DNA. And all of a sudden with Marty, I could go to the half wall and know that he's going to beat the forechecker or the first two forecheckers with a pass to me and on my tape. So you saved me a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah, well, that was the point. You know, even I remember one time in the playoffs, Scotty goes, "These guys are hitting me too much. Like, can you just like lob it really, really slow, high on the glass, so I could go run the guy on the half wall?" I would just do that, and they stopped for checking. So we use it as an asset. Like I said, a lot of guys were good at it, like throughout the league. You know, Marty Turk was a guy that come to mind. It's a bunch of guys that we kind of fed off of each other and how to play the puck. But I felt it was an asset for me to have and help the D, like you said, now not to get run too often.
So, Marty, we get to watch the Devils a lot. We had a lot of success together, all of us, as far as winning some championships, and that's what it was all about during our time. This version of the Devils now, give us your synopsis on what you're seeing so far, what you like, what you maybe don't like, and the vision for the team moving forward.
Yeah, I think, it was an adjustment for the team. Having 7 new players, 2 new coaches on the bench, trying to get new system in, trying to learn each other's ways of playing the game. I just felt that on the off season, I think Tom did a great job, adding pieces that we needed as far as size and physicality in our game. We know we have the talented players, the Jack Hughes, the Brad, the Isher, the Myers. I think just the depth part that we added, and we added some good defensemen, like 3 big guys with Pesci, Kovacevic, and Dylan. I think it changed a little bit the way we play and how our smaller players feel on the ice. But it's still just the beginning. It's a little over a quarter of the season in. I would just love to have a little more consistency sometimes. Defensively, I think in New York, everybody loved the score, but Markstrom made a big difference in that game. So I think we're on the right track. I think this is the time that now everybody knows each other, and we'll take a big step in the next part of the season here.
You mentioned Markey and what a big acquisition that was, but I want to kind of focus on a guy that you were teammates with in St. Louis, and Jake Allen. And when you look at it, and how important is it to have a backup goaltender that has the amount of experience as a starter in this league in Jake Allen?
Well, I think it's a big positive. It's one of the big reasons why we acquired him last year out of Montreal, is we wanted to have like an older duo, let Nico Dawes develop in the minors and not miss a beat at the NHL level. And Jake is a competitor. He knows he's not going to play a crazy amount of games, but his work ethic in practice and the way he competes on the ice all the time is a really benefit to the whole team. I think he's got a lot of experience in the locker room. Really help out Marty. He's not pressuring him to get his job. He wants there to support him, and it's been great so far. And like I said, Jake, I've known for a long time, so I was excited and when he became available.
Last on the Devils, we always banter this around off camera and everything, and it's not just New Jersey, teams throughout the league, why some are better on the road. The Devils have shown that, where at home it hasn't been as consistent or as successful winning hockey games with regularity. They have a 5-game home stretch coming up here that could say a lot. Do you have, can you pinpoint it? Why teams sometimes, I always say, Marty, you try a little too much at home for some reason or another, and you play a simpler game on the road. How do you manage to get the players to understand that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. the start of the game is, I don't think if you look at the whole game, I think we do play well, but we already start like really slow. The reason, who knows, maybe we're going to have to do a Lou and send everybody to the hotel the game of the days. I don't know. But it's something that we need to work on. There's no doubt about that. Last season, I think we had 58 games that the visiting team scored first. That's not good enough. We need to, like, when we talk about consistency, these are part of it that it needs to be addressed. And I know coach is working at it. Fitzy's trying to figure out something also, and we all are. But we're not playing the game; they are. So.
Marty, we're going to wrap it up here with a little what were you thinking. We're going to show you picture, video, whatever it is, different stages of your career, and kind of want to know maybe what was going through your head at that time or maybe right now as you see these moments. So we'll lead it off here. If this is the one, I think it is one of my favorite pictures of all time. Marty, that stash is sick. I like. Did you get teased for it? I think it was unbelievable.
My rookie card has it, so I can't escape from that card.
You might have one of my favorite draft pictures of all time in the hat with the stash too. That's so sick.
That stays. It still to this day stays with me, so that's okay.
What else we got here?
Nice. What are you thinking, Marty?
My boy. Yeah, well, we finally did it again, so that's great. That's a great picture.
I'll cherish that one, Marty, because that was my last Stanley Cup game ever played, and you'll never forget it.
I want to ask this because, again, that game, for those that are watching that maybe didn't know, Deno got inserted into that game. And it was, I know for me, I was a rookie. Marty, you had the history with him. You had all this success there. For me, I was like, it was another veteran that has been through it, and I felt like I'm in good hands, so I'm not concerned. I'm not nervous with the game because I had you guys to lean on in that moment. But for you, like, what is that? What kind of boost was that from your vantage point, getting Dano back in that game?
Oh, it was great. I think obviously it took everybody by surprise when he got scratched. I think it was against Boston. First time he missed a playoff game or something like that. So we were like shaking our heads a little bit, but obviously we still got to play the games. But the fact that he was able to get reinserted at times, especially on Game 7, the Stanley Cup final, that was awesome. It was definitely a big positive boost for the locker room.
We got a picture here. I think this is your one of your milestones here, 500th win. With Weeksy, look at it, Weeksy being all smooth again.
Yeah, I think that was in Philadelphia. Was one of the records I broke there. I'm not sure. But look at my equipment in the back. Yeah, they don't make those anymore.
Right? Look at that.
What is that?
What is
my chest protector?
A lot thinner, right, Marty? Not as much protection.
We had some great years with Wixie, that's for sure.
Special moment, though, right? I mean, obviously winning your 500th. Not many goalies can say that.
No. And some of us, we'll look at the next picture, some of us just get these great experiences just by being present in these moments. I remember this one. Maybe you could take us through you becoming the all-time winningest goaltender.
Yeah, there's whatever reason when I'm really excited, I jump. So you see a lot of pictures jumping, but this one was against the Chicago Blackhawks, and I came back. I was hurt for most of the year with an arm injury, and I got back enough games in the season to be able to break the record. And for my teammates, you don't win that many games, and you don't cut a net by yourself either, I guess.
Hey, I'll tell you that much. I don't know, probably because this is like the first time that the winningest goaltender, so they're like, cut the net. You started doing it for a while, and I remember you signaling over like, guys, come help me out. And we're sitting there just and first off, the scissors sucked. The scissors were terrible. We're
the orange and gold scissors.
Yeah, we're trying to work our way through it. But let me ask you, where's the net? Is there pieces of the net? Is it one piece? Like, what'd you do with it?
It's, I cut a bunch of pieces and give it to a lot of my friends and family. And the big part, I have it in my basement, kind of wrapped around in the corner. So it's kind of pretty cool, pretty neat thing to have. I got all the paddings too. It's like it's a mess. I have them in Jersey, but you know, I didn't expect to you know, have to cut the net and do all that stuff. But it's been great though. Like every time, especially when the year after it happened, I would go to somebody and just kind of give him a little square, and people are really excited. They think they have a huge piece of history. That's sick.
That's sick. We got one more. We got one more for you. This one's super cool. The Canadian Centennial celebration with your father. You know, how neat is that?
Yeah, this was his life. You know, I think he wasn't working for the Canadians at that time that picture was taken. They brought him back in just to be part of the celebration, and I know it meant the world to my dad, because this is that was his life, is being the official photographer of the Montreal Canadiens for decades.
All right. Well,
pretty good stuff.
That is great. So much history, and geez, with that franchise, with you, and we can sit here all day. But we appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day and swinging by, and we'll see you around.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, my friend.